Welcome to Crown Chat with Michelle, where we celebrate remarkable women who are making waves in the world while juggling the demands of everyday life, inspiring others, and leaving a lasting impact. I'm your host, Michelle Miller, reigning Pure International Elite Ms. Ambassador. Join me as we explore the stories of extraordinary women shaping our world right here on Crown Chat with Michelle. Welcome to Crown Chat with Michelle. I'm Michelle Miller, and I'm so excited that you're here with us for season 4. And tonight's very, very special guest, my amazing Sash sister, the beautiful Elizabeth Moon. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good. And how are you?
I'm good. I'm loving the pink. That's my favorite color, of course,
Mm.
um, and all the matchy. So I'm loving that. So for people that don't know, tell us who you are and what system you represent and your title and all that good stuff.
Yes, so I'm Elizabeth Moon. I am currently with Pure. I was previously Miss Land of Lincoln, and now I am representing as a Miss Ambassador, one of the first ever for our wonderful system.
It's amazing. So you said you were Land of Lincoln before that. Tell us a little bit about your pageant history, because I know Pure is not your first pageant.
Yes, so my first pageant, back in about 2017, I was still in college and competed in a county pageant here, Christian County. I didn't place, but it was great experience, something that I wasn't used to. Public speaking was not a strong skill for me. And I decided at that point, like, okay, I've done the thing, I'm done. I'm not gonna do it again. And at 21, county came around again, and that's when you age out for county. I was in Madison County at that time, and I was like, well, maybe one more. I called my mom and told her, and she's like, you've got to be kidding me. And I'm like, Mom, this is my last one. Like, I age out. We'll be okay. Well, I ended up winning. Didn't expect to win that. So that just kind of opened the door to my whole entire pageant world. From county, I went to state. And then after state, I did take a little bit of a hiatus. And I wanted to get back into pageants and I wanted something that I could do while also having a family. And I came across Pure and I have been with them ever since and enjoyed every moment.
It's amazing. And when I first met you, so I met you and your mama at the same time, and you two were Sash sisters, right?
Yes, I talked her into it. I never thought my mother would do a pageant a day in her life. When I first told her about it, I was like, in the back of my head, I'm like, she's not gonna do this. And then she called me, she's like, I'm gonna do the pageant. And I was just like, oh my God, this is gonna be such a great experience. Like, how often do you get to go around and be like, yeah, this is my mom. Like, we're just queening together.
Yeah, yeah. That you have families and you have generations. What was the big difference for you? I mean, you competed by yourself, of course, in county, and then competing with your mom. What was the big difference?
Um, I mean, I had support competing for county, like from the other girls and my parents, but being able to like be almost like in the room, I guess, with my mom while she competed for nationals first with me. We interview prepped a lot. We worked together a lot, and I was able to like kind of listen in on her answers, and every time she answered, I was just like, yes, yes. I'm like, she's doing so good. Like I was so proud of her. So it was really cool. Definitely a unique experience. And then internationals, I love that we got to like prep together, learning the dance. Um, that was fun. A lot of laughs trying to get that dance down, but it's definitely a different experience. And I would wish that everybody would get to at some point in their life experience that.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's definitely different. And not only do you have that support, but you share that experience together. And most people only see it from the outside, but to actually be in it, I think that's neat.
Yeah, then she's like, I now understand why you're so obsessed with patents. And I'm like, you get me now? You get it? And she's like, I do.
Yeah, it's so funny listening to you saying, okay, this is my last one. This is my last one, because I've been saying that for years. So I definitely get that and how you keep coming back. So one of the big things of pageants, most of them you either have a platform or with Puritan Impact project or statement. What is your project and why did you choose it? Why is it important? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so my project is based around Alzheimer awareness. My dad was diagnosed back in 2006. So since then, growing up with that and watching it, his mom was also diagnosed with Alzheimer's a few years prior to that. So it's just been in the family, and especially when it hits that close to home and growing up with it and like seeing it firsthand, like I want to get out there and try to like find a cure and maybe it probably won't happen in my lifetime, but if I can put effort towards it so that at some point in this lifetime for somebody they don't have to deal with that or there is a cure, that's what I'm shooting for. And I did take a really big step this year with my project. I actually started my own pageant called the Miss Forget Me Not pageant. So we crowned our first ever queens, and they have been doing such a good job getting out in the community. And we actually raised enough from the pageant itself that we are going to be donating $1,000 to the association later on this month.
That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. I love when it's a personal, thing for someone of why they choose it, and then to be able to really just put it in motion. And you really, I mean, put rubber to the road and took off with that. So that's awesome. How can someone get involved with your project or your pageant or support or donate? How can they get with that?
Yes, so pageant anywhere in Illinois. If you reside in Illinois, it's open residency pretty much. You're more than welcome to come compete. And as far as getting involved with the project, if you go to Google and type in like Alzheimer's Association, doesn't specifically have to be the one in Illinois. I know they have different chapters everywhere. You can donate directly through their website. You could put it in honor of somebody if you know somebody, personally, or even if you don't, that's the best way to get involved with the project.
Perfect, perfect. So what would most people be surprised to know about you?
Hmm. Um, I think a lot of people would probably be surprised to know that I have a musical talent, which I don't. I haven't for a couple years really played, but I can pretty much pick up an instrument, and once I know the basic chords, I can play like I've been playing for years. And then something else that really surprises people is I'm like a person of many hats. So I have experience in like medical, dental, all anything you can think of, I probably have experience in. And when I tell people that, they're kind of like, oh, well, I didn't expect that from you.
I love that. That's so cool. Yeah, because when you told me you were a chef, and I'm like, what? So
Yeah. I do cakes, I do wedding cakes. I worked for my favorite thing to tell people that I think it's really cool is like I worked for a wedding venue that worked with Food Network chefs. So that's something that I will never not tell people when I tell them I'm a chef.
that's amazing. Wow, cool. Okay, so you've competed, you're directing now, you coach. What is your favorite part of pageant competition?
I think just watching the girls from where they start and then to where they finish. With coaching, I've coached a couple girls now. You actually helped me. The first girl that we coached, we saw how drastic of a change it was and it was just a 10-day period. I went back and counted because I'm like, oh my gosh, has it really been that long? It was literally a 10-day period, and just the advice that we gave her, she had like grown so much. And I think just that, and then, I also judge. So my favorite part of judging is I love meeting the girls one-on-one, but my favorite is like getting to sit there and watch these girls be crowned because it just means so much to them, and like to watch their reaction, like it brings tears to my eyes.
Yeah, yeah, that's the best. I like judging too. So do you find that when you judge, you take your judge's notes and kind of tweak the way that you compete? 'Cause-
Yes, yes, I do. Because I sometimes I feel like when I'm like, it sounds kind of bad this way, but when I'm judging them, I'm also like, okay, well, do I do this when I compete? And then I'm like telling myself, like, well, if you're telling them this, maybe you also need to look and see if you're doing this as well. So, yeah, I definitely take my own advice when I'm like judging them.
Awesome. Yeah, me too. So I'm glad to hear that.
Not just you, it's me too.
So what is, I mean, we're like heading to internationals in, oh my gosh, 5 months.
Yeah,
Um, so
yeah.
what is your prep routine? Like, what are you doing right now to kind of get ready for June?
Yeah, so I know this year interviews are a little bit different. So we don't really have a bio. We have more of like our impact statement that we gave last year. So just kind of perfecting that and having more of what I want to say since we only get 2 minutes with the judge because I have so much that I want to tell them how I started my pageant and how I'm like on the board for the longest day every year with the association. And I could just ramble on about that forever. So I guess just trying to find a way to fit all that in without sounding like I'm, running a race. And then walking around in my heels, I put music on and I'm like strutting my stuff. Like I'm like trying to get those walks down. because I think, you know, when you get out on stage, it's exciting, but also I still do get some nerves. So just trying to like make sure that I can get my walks down, I think that's going to help with my confidence a little bit so that I'm not so nervous going out on stage.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. What advice would you give someone that's considering their first pageant or they've entered their first pageant and they're like, oh my gosh, what did I do? Why am I doing this?
I would just tell them, just do it. You're gonna gain so much experience from it. Like I told you, I was not public speaker. Like public speaking was not my thing. And after pageants, it's helped a lot. You know, I think after county, I was kind of out of it where I was a little bit more timid to do public speaking. But once I got back in the system with Pure, like it's just kind of opened me back up. So don't hold back. Do it. If you can drag your family into it, do it because I promise they're going to love it too. And just enjoy yourself. You know, you're not going to win every time. And I think everything happens for a reason. And when it's your time to win and shine, that's going to be the moment.
That's great advice because I think so many people get discouraged. They think they've prepped, they've done all the things, they've done everything that they knew to do, and they don't win, and they're like, oh, and they give up. So it's just to know that you can't win it every time. So
Yeah, it's definitely I would say a little bit heartbreaking when you don't win because you want to know what you know what you could have done better on or what it was that caused you not to win that time. But you know, continuing to practice and just be confident in yourself and have fun with it, that's when you're gonna just really shine on stage.
for sure, for sure. So okay, are you flying or driving to internationals?
Oh, I'm gonna be driving, only because I have so much stuff that I have to pack on top of my own things, and then of course with my son and his dad, you know, we're just gonna be like overloaded, and we're gonna have to take breaks.
Yeah.
So, and we plan on staying an extra couple of days, because we're gonna stay and take Atlas to like Disney and stuff for his birthday that year, or I guess that year. This year, we're in 2025 now. Um, but yeah, so we're gonna drive. It's gonna be long, but it'll be okay.
I thought you were driving because you didn't get to fly with me. So I think
Yeah, I know. I didn't get to. Yeah, if I was flying, I'd be flying with you, making the rest of them fly on their own.
so we flew, just for those of y'all that don't know, we flew together to Florida for a Pure event, and it was your first flight,
Yes,
first
ever.
time flying. And we had the most insane adventures and met interesting people. And I guess we were loud on the plane, and there was a man that ran from us when we flew back. He ran from us, and Elizabeth is so sweet and positive and was like, "Oh, he said he had another flight." And I said, "No, he's running from us." And we get to luggage claim, and there he was. He wasn't running to another
Yep,
flight.
luggage.
He's running from us. So, okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. What advice would you give your 5-year-old self?
Don't listen to what other people say. Just be confident in yourself, and you know, um, just enjoy life. Live every day like it's your last.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really, really good. Okay, what is the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Hmm. Ooh, that's a hard one. I say that's a hard one because I've been given a lot of advice that I think is good. So trying to like pick one out. Um, Honestly, I feel like I'm kind of repetitive, but just staying true to yourself. You know, that's when you're gonna feel your best. If you're trying to be something that you're not or act like somebody that you're not, you know, you're not gonna feel your best.
Yeah, yeah, that's really good. So you have Pure coming up this year.
Mhm.
What else is going on between now and internationals that people can kind of follow along or that you're looking forward to?
So I am going to be looking forward to judging more pageants because pageant season around here is like right around the corner. So we're gonna be gearing up for that and just being out with my queens. You know, looking out for the donation because we're gonna make a post about that on the Miss Forget Me Not page, and then of course it'll be on my ambassador page as well. And I have one more big project that I'm wanting to at least start before Pure. If I can finish it before then, that would be fantastic. But almost like one of those little free libraries in a neighborhood where you build the box and put books in it. But with the books being put in it, I'm also going to have pamphlets and stuff for like Alzheimer's awareness and how they can get involved and donate. and stuff like that, just to kind of push it out there more. Because when somebody sees that, I'm nosy. I want to know what's in those. Even if it's like the food pantry ones, I'm like, oh, what's in here? Not that I ever need anything. But when they open that and they see it, it's going to be more apt for them to like pick one out instead of going out of their way if they see it on Facebook or, somewhere else out on social media where they're like, oh, yeah, I'll look at that later. Like it's right there. And then like they're going to pick it up and at least read it, glance at it, and put it back.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Awesome. What is your secret show or podcast that people would be surprised that you watch?
Crime Junkies. That's literally my number. I didn't even have to hesitate. My literal number one podcast. If I'm being honest, I don't think I really listen to any others. Pioneer Woman does have one too, so I've listened to that one sometimes. But if you're ever wondering, when I'm listening to a podcast, it's Crime Junkies all the way.
I love crime podcasts. Like I have, and when I looked at my podcast list today, I was like, oh my gosh, people are going to think I have issues because and I always tell my husband, I'm like, I'm researching, I'm researching.
Yeah, I feel that way when I watch the TV shows too, or like, like the series or the movies where it's like based around crime, and I'm like sitting there, I'm like, Connor probably thinks that I'm like keeping some of these in the back of my mind or something. Like, I just, I don't know. It's not, I guess it's like, it's so interesting, I guess. I don't want to say fascinating because that seems a little, maybe not what direction I'm wanting to go. But I just think it's very interesting, and just to hear like these people's stories, like you would have never known who that person was, or some of the cases on this podcast are unsolved. And so,
Yeah,
like, hearing that, that gets to somebody at some point, hopefully, like in this lifetime, someone's going to come forward and they're going to be able to get more answers.
definitely. Definitely. Okay. If you could have any superpower, what would it be and what would you do with it or why?
I think if I could have any superpower, it would be to heal sick people of any kind of illness. And that kind of just reverts back to my platform with Alzheimer's, from that to cancer to, maybe even if it's just a cough and they're like, I'm so tired of this cough, I could just be like, you're like, you're all better. But just to get rid of sickness in the world.
That's a great one. That's really good. Um, Gosh, you made me lose my train of thought. That was so good.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. It's good. What is something that you've learned about yourself while competing and preparing to compete?
Um, that there's more to me than what I thought there was, and that I can be more confident than I was in the beginning. Um, I always felt like people were like staring at me, like judging me, like, whispering. But in reality, like that's not what they were doing. Like they were supporting you. And I try to tell my girls that too. Like, don't look out in the crowd and think that they're like judging you. Like they're there. Yes, they have somebody else that they're supporting, but like they're rooting for you too. Like everybody's rooting for you. And if they're not, then that's just unfortunate for them because they're
Oh,
missing out. So
so I know coming up, we have several areas that we compete in. I know that you've been working on wardrobe because we talk about it. You don't tell me what it is, but what area of competition are you most excited for based on your wardrobe right now?
so my wardrobe is like I'm like blown away, honestly. I'm like I've blown myself away thanks to the help from Miss Angie. So kudos to her. I gotta give her a shout out. Because it's like on 100 compared to what it was last year. Like I would have to say if I had to pick, I'm gonna have to pick the evening portion. I think it's I want to say it's simple, but not like it's simple, elegant, and like classy. So I think, yeah, I'm really excited for interview two, because I just like to ramble on. But I'd have to pick evening gown for sure.
Gosh, I'm excited. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see it. Okay. What do you want to be remembered for at the end of your reign, of your ambassador title? What do you want to be remembered for?
That I was out in the community. Even if it wasn't based around my platform, I was, doing things to help others. Um, just being part of something important, judging pageants, coaching girls so that they can better themselves, personally and in their pageant career, and just being a part of everything else for everyone as well. I think. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. I think you will be remembered for that because you're a working queen, and I'm all about working queens. I don't like people that wear crown on a shelf and don't do anything. So you're a worker.
I'm a
All
hard
right. As we get ready to wrap up today's show, how can people follow you on social media and follow your journey and see what's next for you and all that good stuff?
Yes, so if you want to follow my ambassador page, you can look up Pure International Ms. Ambassador Elizabeth Moon. That is on Facebook. If you want, I mean, I do have a TikTok. It's not really based around my pageant stuff. That's more of like, recipes and mom hacks for if you have a little toddler. And on there, you can find me at Liz Owens 2022. Well, 22, scratch the 20. But so you can find me there. But if you want to follow my pageant journey, definitely reach out on my international ambassador page.
Wonderful. And I'll link those in the show notes so people can find them quickly. Any last pieces of advice or thoughts or anything you want to leave us with tonight?
I'm just really excited for internationals. I can't wait. I'm ready for this year. I'm especially being so close to Disney Springs, and I hope everybody just has a great year. Try something new. I know that after, the past couple of years with everything kind of like shutting down and opening back up, like don't be afraid to get back out there and try something new.
Good advice. Good advice. Elizabeth, I am so glad you were on. I'm so glad that Pure brought us together, and I just love on you and your mama and Atlas and the family. And I'm thankful that you came on my show. I was so glad that you did. I've been meaning to ask you forever.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you.
So thank you for being on. We'll be following your journey. Everyone that's tuned in, make sure to follow. This is season 4. We'll have a lot of great queens coming up. So make sure to stay tuned to both our YouTube channel and the podcast channels so that you can catch everything going on. And remember, never let anybody dull your sparkle because they can't handle your shine. Have a great night, everybody.
Are you a current title holder or pageant provider that wants to share your story? Message us now at crownchatwithnichelle@gmail.com.